This is One on One with Jasper Cole, Hollywood's bad guy, and so much more. Actor, talent manager, producer, and more. Now he's sitting down with today's top newsmakers from entertainment, politics, pop culture, and beyond. This is One on One with Jasper Cole.
Woo-hoo. All right. Howdy, howdy, howdy. And welcome to One on One with Jasper Cole. This is your host, Jasper Cole, and we are coming to you live today from Sunset Gower Studios right here in Hollywood, California. And I want to say a big shout out to my producer extraordinaire, Mr. John Williams.
Hey, Jasper.
Hey, buddy. How are you?
I'm doing good. Good.
This is week number 3.
I know.
Here we are again.
Yes.
How was your week from last week? I haven't seen you.
It's been good. Yeah.
You're always busy.
Yeah, I know. A lot of pre-records this week, but
well,
been
that's good.
Yes.
Well, I'm so thrilled that we're here. I want to say, everyone, please remember to follow us on Twitter at OneOnOneJCole, Facebook, One-on-One Jasper Cole, and, of course, my website, jaspercole.com.
Mm-hmm.
So today I figured, you know what, there's so much happening in current events and hot topics, and I just wanted to have a show where we could just talk and vent and give our opinions on stuff. Because,
Sure.
I don't know, it seems like there's just so much shit happening in the news, right?
Yeah, there are. Quite a bit going on.
Which I think is great. There's a lot of stuff happening. One thing I want to talk about is tonight on ABC, the ESPY Awards.
Mm-hmm.
And as you know, Caitlyn Jenner is receiving the Courage Award, the Arthur Ashe Courage Award.
Yes.
And last year, it was given to Michael Sam, openly gay football player. It's interesting to me, there's been a lot of backlash against this.
Mm-hmm.
I was watching several shows today. I'll be curious if anybody in the chat room or if anybody wants to call in and give the phone numbers, John.
Sure, yeah. The phone number is 323-843-2826. Again, 323-843-2826. That's
Call in and give us your opinion on things today. Sure. Today's all about sounding off on current events. So, but yeah, the Caitlyn thing is interesting, you know, because Bruce Jenner was an Olympic athlete,
mm-hmm.
at one time considered to be one of the greatest athletes.
Yes.
But then the other thing I learned was that this award, it doesn't necessarily have to just pertain to sports. It predominantly has in the past, but I think a lot of people on the talk, for instance, Sharon Osbourne has been very vocal. There's at least 2 other female athletes. There's a female basketball player who died of brain cancer who had continued to play right up to the end. Mm-hmm. And then there's another person, so there's a lot of people that are deserving of it. And Sarah Gilbert was making the point on the show of, well, it's like with any award show, there's always more, everyone's deserving. Mm-hmm. You can only pick one winner. But I think the criticism, what Sharon was saying is that, ABC and the ESPYs are strictly using this as a ploy for the ratings. And I say, well, isn't that what business is all about? Mm-hmm. Just because Caitlyn's going to bring ratings in, it doesn't detract or take away from her needing and earning this award.
Right, and I guess according to Us Weekly, she doesn't want to draw an obscene amount of attention to herself and take away the other deserving attention.
Right.
Yeah,
but the
athletes.
other thing is that I guess is ABC owns ESPN,
mm-hmm.
and so this is the first time they actually are airing the ESPYs on ABC, which again I think is a great thing because more people are going to watch the ESPYs, and let's just say that a percentage of those people decide they're going to watch the ESPYs from now on.
Well, guess who's going to be her date?
Is it Candace Cain?
Yes, Candace Cain.
Well, it's interesting because for people who don't know Candace Cain,
mm-hmm.
Candace Cain was one of the stars of Dirty Sexy Money mm-hmm. on ABC.
Right.
And I thought, even before Laverne Cox, Candace was sort of the first transgendered woman who mm-hmm. was on network television. Then when Laverne came, I know Laverne's the first African American, but I always mm-hmm. thought, in this whole trans discussion recently, Candace has sort of been left out of the conversation a lot.
Yeah.
And so I know a lot of the tabloids are saying that, Caitlyn and Candace are dating. I don't know what that's about. I mean, it can't just be 2 girlfriends.
All right.
Because there's that whole thing about, well, I guess the whole debate is Bruce will now have to be Caitlyn is now a lesbian
mm-hmm.
because Bruce was heterosexual.
Yeah.
But that hasn't been addressed. I don't think he's actually talked about that. Yeah. And it's interesting because I'm not a sports person in general.
Mm-hmm.
And I think I watched the ESPYs last year. simply for the fact that Michael Sam was being awarded his award, and that was groundbreaking because first openly gay football player who also happened to be African American. But it's interesting how 2 years in a row we have this sort of media spectacle around the winner of the Arthur Ashe Award, and then ironically, Arthur Ashe tragically died of AIDS also.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Which was kind of strange. It was a heterosexual man who died of AIDS.
Oh, wow.
I'm almost positive he did.
I will look it up.
Yeah, please do, because if I've misspoke, in my mind, I almost think I think he was hemophiliac.
He did.
Or
You're
something.
correct. He was believed to have contracted HIV from blood
transfusions. Yeah.
Yeah, during heart bypass surgery.
Bypass surgery. That's right.
In
He
the
wasn't
80s.
Right. He wasn't hemophiliac. He that happened to a lot of people. Back in the time when the blood wasn't being tested or whatever. So I think the ESPYs are on at 8:00 tonight on ABC. I have my DVR set ready to go because I probably won't be home to watch it. And like a lot of us, we'll probably be fast forwarding through to Caitlin. I hate to say that, but isn't that what's probably going to happen? Yeah.
For some of the audience, yeah.
For some of the audience, yeah. And then there's also that whole stereotype, of course, that gay men don't like sports.
Right. That's unfounded.
Well, that's not true. That's a stereotype. Not all of us. We don't just love ice skating and gymnastics and, rhythmic gymnastics and swimming, synchronized swimming.
And the Oscars.
Yeah, but speaking of criminals, why don't we get to the other big story, this fucking Bill Cosby. And, now his wife, Camille Cosby, has had to open her pie hole and start talking about, she's now defending, of course, Bill, but she's saying that all the sex that took place was consensual, that these women either took the pills themselves, and she's also admitted, she said, she knows that her husband is an adulterer. That's not anything new to her, but that he's not a rapist. And now and I just thought, really, bitch, why don't you just shut the hell up?
Yeah.
I mean, it's bad enough that we've
insult to injury.
Right. I mean, I understand it's her husband and she stood by him all these years, but it's almost like, why would his PR team even send her out there to speak for him of all people? When if you've ever seen them interviewed, she sits there like this church mouse. She's got like this shit-eating grin on her face the whole time, and she just kind of has a smirk on her face. She's almost like he's drugged her. I mean, a lot of the times when you look at her, they did that.
Like a Stepford wife?
She's very Stepford. And not attractive. Bless her heart. Yeah. I mean, they lost a kid, and there's even losing the son back when they did, there was a lot of controversy around that whole murder and what was actually going down that night. And now, since all these revelations have come out, there's been speculation that could have even been a hit I'm not saying one of the victims did it, but there was some shady business happening there, which just, now that we know this about Bill, it makes you wonder, wow, what other shady things has he been involved in?
Yeah.
But I just think the worst part of this has been Whoopi Goldberg on The View, who has just consistently defended Bill Cosby. And she has this history of defending Mel Gibson, anybody that, especially a celebrity that gets caught in any kind of scandal, she tends to defend them. The Bill Cosby thing has just sort of,
I wonder why that is.
I don't know. She keeps saying that as someone who's been accused of things herself that she didn't do, blah, blah, blah.
So she's protecting the celebrities because of the media spin?
Well, I just think, bitch, you have never been accused of raping women. Like she keeps trying to equate it to that time, remember, she did blackface with Ted Danson and she got some flack or whatever. I mean, she's had some negative press, but it's never been criminal. It's never been like Mel Gibson being anti-Semitic or whatever. So, but finally yesterday on The View, ABC news analyst Dan Abrams it almost seems like the network summoned him to come sit down with her, because it was literally Whoopi and he talking for 20 minutes where he had to explain, she had to pretend to be explained how there's no legal process right now that he cannot, because she kept saying, well, let's let this play out in court. And he was trying to say, Whoopi, there's the statute of limitations have run out. I mean, there's like 3 cases that maybe there's some sort of wiggle room. But she sat there, and it just seemed so obvious that she had finally been spoken to by the network or someone that said, bitch, you know, you need to finally just.
Finally saw the light.
Yeah, and the only way to make it look like save face for her is that she didn't quite understand the legal process.
Wasn't that show a sinking ship, and she's kind of
it does
at the
seem
moment?
like
Yeah.
and speaking of, I have to give a shout out to a fellow radio person. Do you ever listen to Jenny McCarthy on Sirius?
I know you love her.
Dirty,
Yes,
sexy,
yes.
funny. That bitch is so
Jenny,
hilarious. The other
yes.
day, I almost ran off the road because one thing I love about Jenny is kind of like me. She likes to just call people on their shit, right?
Uh-huh.
And she says now having the radio show is like the greatest job she's ever had in her entire life because she's finally able to just be allowed to be herself.
I bet.
And after all the 20 plus years living in Hollywood, you know, she lived in the Malibu colony for many, many years with her first Ray Manzella, her first boyfriend, and then 5 years with Jim Carrey. She's had, you know, a lot of you youngsters may not realize Jenny has had pilot deals and TV shows and sitcoms and a deal with Oprah, and first of all, she's made a shitload of money, but she was really like the comic girl after her big Singled Out, the dating show. And so she knows a lot of people, but she was talking about Whoopi on The View, first of all, about being a big bisexual that, you know, no one talks about. And that she only got excited when, you know, hot lesbians came on the show. But she kind of intimated that Whoopi does run that show.
Yes.
And that if Whoopi doesn't like you, you're out.
I figured.
And apparently Rosie had that same sort of
Rosie Perez?
No, Rosie O'Donnell had the same kind of power.
But Rosie
as well.
Perez is out now too, right?
Yeah, and I'm not sure what happened there because I got the feeling. I'm one of the few
Well,
people that here's the deal. I TiVo it.
Yeah.
And I'll just see who's going to be on it because
Yeah.
I'm usually working on the computer or
Right.
whatever. And I'll fast forward, but I have stuck with it through all these years. But yeah, a lot of people feel it is a sinking ship. But we do want to give a shout out to Michelle Collins, who just got named one of the new co-hosts, and she has been on shows here at UBN. She's been on Alec Mapa's show, and she's a big supporter of the gay community. And she's been doing her comedy. She was on Kathy Griffin's short-lived show over on Bravo that took over our old studio. Do you remember?
Yes, I do.
Over at Sunset Bronson.
Sunset Bronson, yes.
But yeah, Michelle's been around a while. So for her, you know, whether it's a sinking ship or not, it's like a big break for her. But I read today also, it looks like Sherry Shepherd is being brought back.
Oh, wow.
The fifth chair is going to be sort of, they're bringing back Sherry Shepherd, and they're going to have one chair that revolves around like Molly Sims, that Candace Cameron Burroughs, you know, the Kirk Cameron's born again Christian sister that's a right wing nut job. London, I can't think of her name. She's a big fashion person. But anyway, I think they're trying everything. I think bringing on Raven Simone and bringing back Sherry, and now you have 3 African American women on the show, which is kind of nice.
Yeah.
You know, but I don't know.
It's like musical chairs there.
It's become musical chairs, right?
It really has.
And you know, it started out as such a great show, and now it's been eclipsed by like The Talk and other shows like that.
Yeah.
But anyway, we give a shout out to Jenny McCarthy. So her show's every afternoon. I think she's actually live in the mornings, but she comes on out here at 3:00, 3 to 5, and it's on Sirius XM 109.
Cool.
But she just takes on all celebrities. The other day, she took out her phone and just was naming all the celebrities in her phone, and she was just gonna crank call them. And she also told a story about being invited to Ben Affleck and Jennifer Gardner's house, and it was some sort of fundraiser for a vegan restaurant or something. And at one point, Ben took her aside and was like, "Get me out of here. Oh my God, get me out of here. I'm trapped. Like, get me out of this fucking marriage." You know, because apparently Jennifer Garner has been known to be very like, you know, she's like the good girl. And she runs a tight ship and everything's organized and everything revolves around the kids and their homework and their whatever. So anyway, tune into Jenny McCarthy.
Sure.
Give a shout out to her. Now, the other hilarious thing, of course, is this fucking Donald Trump.
Oh, yeah.
Can we talk about Donald Trump? I mean, the scariest thing is that it's one thing that we know what an asshole he is and he does stuff for attention. But in certain polls, he's actually leading now. He's leading Jeb Bush, which is really frightening. So America, I don't know what the fuck's wrong with you. It's like, I mean, Republicans, clearly. Because a lot of the pundits are saying, well, you know, it's early on and he's just kind of doing this for publicity. Well, that's fine, but why is he leading in the polls? You know, it scarily reminds me of people who supported Sarah Palin.
Yes.
And that they were for her, remember? I just think I don't understand how the Republicans don't quite understand that they cannot win the election without the Hispanic vote. But now Donald has this, Donald's doing this whole thing now. He goes, no, trust me, I will win the Hispanic vote. He thinks that, and okay, it's true. A lot of immigrants who are here legally, of course, rightfully so, they should be upset that other people get here and don't go the legal route. But he feels he delusionally feels that there's enough of those people that are going to get him into the White House. And he's just such a nasty asshole. I mean, first he called them, rapist. They were all rapists. He was talking about the border situation, and he was quoting some journalist in an article, and she came on recently and she was like, dude, excuse me, they weren't being raped by the Mexicans. They're being raped by the border patrols. Basically being raped by the guards on the American side and the guards on the Mexican side, but they weren't being raped by the immigrants trying to get in. He you know what I mean? He piecemeals his facts and he throws it out there, and it's ridiculous. So,
that's Fox News for you.
Well, that's it. But it just is amazing to me. It just seems like there's enough people that are,
they're sheep. That's what they call them.
Well, and now he's going to, of course, make it onto the first debate because they base it on the top 10, I think, or the top 8, which, of course, is TV gold, because who the hell's not going to miss that, right? I mean, that whole thing is a clown car, all of them anyway.
The puppet show.
Yeah, I never thought I would say this, but Jeb Bush actually looks like the sane, smart one in the bunch.
It reminds me of that movie, The Candidate. Is that what it is?
Right.
Is that the name of the movie I'm thinking of?
Yes.
Yeah, it's hilarious.
Well, I mean, the thing is, talking about Jeb Bush, compared to his brother, he does...
Or the campaign, that's
the campaign,
yes,
the campaign.
Yeah.
But people should look that up, actually.
It's a hilarious movie.
It's very funny. But compared to his brother, Jeb does come off as the smart one. I just think it would be... I think... If it's Jeb versus Hillary, I think Hillary's got it hands down. Which I wanted to talk about that. What do you think about Hillary? Do you think it's such a shoe-in? She was supposedly the shoe-in the last time around. Is that people have a short memory? They forget that.
Right.
Oprah sort of appointed Obama president, and he came out of nowhere and suddenly took away all her thunder.
Well, some are thinking that she's too political, that being
too polarizing.
Yeah, too being the secretary for so long that's kind of hurt her chances.
Right.
But then a lot of people are also in favor of Bernie. Well,
that's what I'm talking about. Bernie Sanders.
Yeah.
He has really got a huge following as well.
Sure does.
My friend who's Jewish, it's interesting. I didn't grow up around any kind of prejudices about Jewish people, and so I'm always I still am taken back a little bit because I forget, and I'm not Jewish, and I didn't grow up. I forget.
Right.
But my friend said he's never going to win because he's Jewish, and I was like, really? He goes, oh, there's no way. And I guess not being Pollyanna, but I'd like to think that.
I like what he
would be a plus
for
him, not a minus.
Yeah, I love what he stands for. From
Right.
what I understand, I mean, I'm on his Facebook and I see all these posts made by him all the
Right.
time, and I pretty much agree with every post. And I'm not that political, so
Well, I'm a big Elizabeth Warren fan.
I love
also,
her. I would love for her to run.
I know
Her and Bernie together.
That
would be
ticket would be
amazing.
nice.
Yeah.
Or if Hillary would put her on her ticket, I was a big Hillary fan, of course, the first time around. I actually felt that Hillary should have won president and Barack Obama should have been vice president. I just didn't feel that he was corrupt enough. I thought he was green, and I think he kind of showed that in his first term.
Yeah.
But he would have been able to sort of learn the ropes and then come in after her. But I don't know. This time around, I'm sort of I'm on the fence, to be honest. The reason I like Hillary is because I think in order to be a politician, you have to be corrupt.
Yeah.
You have to have there's varying degree. It's like all attorneys have to be liars. People know I hate attorneys. I hate attorneys until I'm arrested at 3 a.m. and I have to call one. But I've sort of been down a 5-year journey with, lawsuits and attorneys that we won't talk about. But ironically, most politicians are attorneys also. But I don't know. I'm starting to feel like Hillary is... I don't know. I'm just not I'm just not getting excited this time around.
Well, from what I can see, Bernie's making steady gains,
Right.
according to Politico that just reported. So it looks like.
But do you think, and this is shallow, I'm
Mhm.
just keeping it real.
Mhm.
Do you think visually though there's a problem there? Bernie looks older. I don't know. I think
I know.
he's-
I have a couple pictures of them
Yeah, it-
side by side, and
that's
it's
not
like,
this is not my personal opinion,
Yeah.
but I'm speaking for the the millennials and the generation and people who, I don't know. I feel like a lot of times people vote on the image.
Mhm. Well, according to I'm at Inside Gov right now
Right.
on the website, and Bernie has a 4.7 and Hillary has a 2.6.
Wow.
And this is by user votes. So
Well, go Bernie with your
Yeah.
bad self.
yeah, but
Because I'm sure Hillary would not pick him either. But at least we're going to have some sort of primary for the for the Democrats, because
Mhm.
otherwise it would just be Hillary would be the nominee, and there would be
Yeah.
no debates or anything.
And then you look at a woman for president too. So that's going to be a big
Yeah.
thing, so that could be
But I
another
think-
driving point.
I think people have to be careful. I think Hillary has to be careful and not just cruise on that, thinking that
Mhm.
she's a shoo-in just because she's a woman.
Right.
But,
I think it will help our chances.
oh yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I think
Mhm.
it will also, but I think she's going to have to be a little more accessible to the media.
Yeah.
Right now I know it's way early. First of all, it's way early, but
Mhm.
the one big criticism I have of Hillary right now, if you look up the Clinton Foundation,
Mhm.
and she's been criticized for this, and you look at the billions of dollars that the charity has raised, they've come under fire about the actual amount of money that they've donated to charity. And there's this huge discrepancy there. And I'm sure there's a way to spin it, and I'm open to hear there's probably legitimate reasons why those are the amounts, but
Mhm.
that was the only thing when I was researching last month about the Clinton Foundation. I thought, wow, there really is this big gap of how much money actually goes to charity and what it costs for their overhead and their salaries,
That's
supposedly.
unfortunately the sad side of charity.
Charity in general.
Yeah, in general, because I went online. If you Google and you look up the Red Cross and you look up March of Dimes, and you
Right.
look up all these different organizations, and you see how much money actually goes to the people in need versus the cost
Right, of
you know,
running it.
of running the charity. It's so minimal.
It's-
It's sickening.
I know.
It
I
really
know.
is.
And there's, oh, wow, look at
We
that.
had a drop of mic.
This big black thing just fell out of the sky. And
No, it really is. And in fact, I
Oh.
could probably find, while we're talking, an image that will break it down and give us the per dollar what
Right.
percentage of each dollar goes to charity. It's sickening.
It's kind of sad,
yeah,
isn't it?
Yeah, it is. It is.
Yeah, that was my big thing about the Clintons. This whole Benghazi situation with her, that doesn't bother me. I don't think they can pin Benghazi on her. You know what I mean? Basically I want to say Obama got rid of Don't Ask, Don't Tell.
Mhm.
He killed bin Laden. We have universal health care, and now we have gay marriage. So the rest of you can go fuck yourselves.
Mhm.
But of course that's because. Oh, okay.
I'm gonna go up there and fix that
Oh,
mic in
wait,
2
there it
seconds.
goes.
There you go.
Is that it?
Yeah,
Can you hear
got
me?
it. I think you got
It's
it.
falling everywhere. So anyway, I don't know. It'll be interesting.
Yeah.
I'll see how this whole campaign plays out. I'm excited. I love politics. I'm a big political junkie. I love
Yeah.
watching Rachel Maddow and
Mhm.
MSNBC and all the shows,
Right.
especially as we get closer to the election.
Mhm.
And I also want to give a big shout out to Carrie Kasem, because today her bill is being signed into legislature
Wonderful.
in California.
Yeah.
Yes. Do you have info on that, JW?
I will look it up right now. I know that Carrie has been here at UBM before, and
And she's
absolutely loved
on
her.
the docket to be a guest here.
Uh-huh.
And in fact, she was going to be a guest here today originally. And we are more than happy to say she's not here because she is in Sacramento. And the bill that she's been vehemently fighting for elder abuse and
Mhm.
for also allowing visitation, rights for kids to visit their parents especially when there's step parents involved. And this is all based on her father, Casey Kasem, and
Right.
that nightmare stepmother, Jeannie Kasem.
Yeah, 1 to 2 million Americans age 65 report having been abused by a loved one or someone they depend on for care. Only 1 in 14 incidents of elder abuse are ever reported to the authorities, and 1 in 25 cases of financial exploitation are ever reported, meaning that there might be at least 5 million financial abuse victims each year.
Can you imagine?
So that's crazy. So this petition,
and is that
this is from her website,
nationwide, or
Cares.
is this just California?
This is actually it doesn't break that down. It's just telling me the pledge here based on Pew Research.
Right.
But if you go to casemcares.com,
right.
There's all the information there as well.
And she's first of all, she's a beautiful person inside and out, and she's just been such a champion. And she, Carrie's had her own very impressive radio career herself throughout the years, but when this started happening with her family, she really took the bull by the horns, and it just goes to show you, for all of us, that you can't. They always say you can't fight City Hall. Well, I mean, you can get out there and pound the pavement and get the signatures and do what you can. So big shout out to Carrie and her family, and bravo, and hopefully we will get her in here. And now when she comes in, it'll be a victory celebration, and we can talk about her journey of what it took to get the bill passed, and of course all the work's is going to have to happen after that.
We have an active chat room. I want to give it a little shout out to the people in the chat room, and Dara was commenting on the story that we were talking about charity, and she says Charity Navigator is a good site to look at when you're thinking about making donations to
CharityNavigator.com.
I'm going to look it up and make sure.
Okay, thanks, Dara. That's entertainment just for Dara from my other show, On the Set with Jasper Cole, which, by the way, we will be back in the fall. That's my once-a-month show with Ralph Cole Jr. and Dara Zane Scully and JW, Mr. John Williams. And so we'll be back. We'll be back in the fall. It'll be the first Sunday of each month, and we're in our fourth. Well, we had our fourth season of that. So, and thank you for all the viewers and listeners who have come over from the other show. So that's exciting. Thank you so much.
And to definitely join us live at ubnradio.com during the live show.
Yes, and everyone remember this show will be up on our YouTube channel in a few days. It usually last week's show was up. It took a while, about 4 or 5 days. This show is archived usually tonight on the host page.
Yes.
And then we're on iTunes and Stitcher in a few days after that. And and the great thing about that, it stays on archive forever, which is exciting.
Yeah.
Now, what do you think about this prisoner escapee in Mexico? Is it El Chapo?
Yes, in the whole Donald Trump
right. So he's the big billionaire drug cartel.
Yes.
Who's escaped before. But did you see? I saw today on Good Morning America, they actually allowed ABC News inside the tunnel. Well, actually inside his prison cell, and then shows him. This was being built for, I think, over a year at least. They had a pulley system where they were bringing stuff in to build, and then the tunnel ends up opening up into like a safe house, into a house, and I think they had a motorcycle waiting to whisk him away or whatever. So I just thinking, God, who would play him in the movie? I'm trying to think.
It's
Javier Bardem.
It's interesting because if you watch Orange is the New Black, there was the whole episode about them escaping through the tunnel, and it's
and you just wonder, was he,
And then we just had the recent story about those two that escaped through a tunnel.
That's right.
And the inside.
Don't we love this? Those two guys in New York. I love the fact that the one guy survived.
Yeah.
And the girlfriend that they arrested, she was just hoping to God he died, because think about it. If he had died, it would literally just be her word against theirs, and they're both dead. So now he's alive to sort of say, no, I was fucking her in the closet, and she wanted me to kill her husband. Allegedly.
Yes.
That's what we are being told. But I guess the other big story today, and I don't know if a lot of people even watched it, but Obama gave his speech kind of explaining why he lifted the sanctions on Iran. This is, historical, because John Kerry's been working, our Secretary of State, has been working really hard to get this passed. But it's controversial. Israel is speaking out against it. They're kind of really worried about it. I don't know. Iran scares me in many ways. They've always kind of scared me, and I think what also scares me about the Republicans, they seem to want to go to war with Iran, and so I'm hoping this is one of the last things Obama's doing to sort of like, when he leave office with sort of like better better conditions, so we're not going to want to just go bomb the shit out of them.
Right.
Which is something I hope doesn't happen. But who knows? Well, listen, let's take our first break.
Okay.
And I want to say a big shout out to our sponsors, Tyrone Artworks and Wayman Productions. And we'll take our first break. We're going to come back and get more into hot topics and current events and keep it going. You're watching and listening One-on-One with Jasper Cole, and we'll be right back.
Got it.
You're back. One-on-One with Jasper Cole.
Hi, howdy. Welcome back to One-on-One with Jasper Cole, and it is just a sound off all day on hot topics and current events. I'm here with my producer extraordinaire, Mr. John Williams.
Hello,
hey, buddy.
hello.
How are you?
I'm great.
It's so nice to be able to talk to an intelligent person.
Oh, thank you.
Hey, Ralph, how are you? No, I'm
He's
kidding.
in the chat room.
It's Ralph
he
in
was.
the chat room.
He was in the chat room.
Oh,
earlier.
God bless him.
Yes.
Congrats to Ralph Cole Jr. on his farmer's insurance
Yes.
with J.K. Simmons that's running everywhere. And I'm Ralph's
Sorry, we're not running it on this show.
I'm Ralph's manager.
I know we should be running
so
on
I'll
the
be
show.
collecting a commission.
There
on
you
that.
go.
No, it's Ralph's first commercial, national commercial ever, and it's a huge one. And as you all know, Ralph Cole Jr. is my co-host on my other show, but he's just one of the funniest people ever, and he's
a great guy,
so talented, and there's no one like Ralph.
No.
And when I first met him, I said, "Bitch, you're a star, now make me some money." And I think we just celebrated 6 years working together.
Oh, wonderful.
Yeah. So we're just like brothers with another mother.
Mm-hmm.
And then, of course, you said Dara's in this room as well. And Dara's going to be here co-hosting next Wednesday with Tony at 4 o'clock.
Oh, great.
And then she and I are going to the Hollywood Bowl to see it's a whole night of Sinatra.
Ah.
I think. I'm not sure who's singing Sinatra, though. But it is a whole night of Sinatra. But Dara has wonderful seats at the bowl. The Duchess does.
Okay.
And so, yeah. But speaking of transgendered people, no, Dara, I'm kidding.
No, you didn't.
But I wanted to talk. It's amazing because you and I were saying last week about as gay people, we're living in such a historical time.
We are.
And you know how hard the fight has been for gay rights or whatever. And it's kind of snuck up on us, but if you look at it, the transgender community is now getting its due respect and building support in the way the gay community was. It almost seems like it's happening faster, which is good. Like everything is speeding up. But it's an interesting topic. I find I've been very pleased actually to see some of the people that I thought were not going to be supportive of it. A lot of people think, the religious right, but I have friends, I have family in the South, I have family and friends that live all over the country, and some are Republicans, believe it or not. That's an issue that seems to be it's a lot more support is there than I think was there for the gay community. Probably the gay movement helped
it sure did.
pave the way, right?
Yes. Yeah, definitely.
But you see there's a show on ABC Family.
Yes.
I forgive me, I don't know the name, but it's about the teenagers are dating, the girl and the guy, and both of their fathers are transitioning, going through the process. And
that's
then,
Ryan Seacrest's show, right?
Oh, okay, yeah. And then I think there's a show called I Am Jazz.
Oh yes, but the first one you're talking about is called Becoming Us.
Becoming Us, and then
That's
I think
ABC Family.
I Am Jazz is another show, maybe on TLC. That's about a boy, right, who's wants to transition to a girl.
Yes.
I think I'm right about that.
Yes.
I actually have not seen the show, but I've seen promos for it, and it's something I want to start. TiVo. But it's interesting because going back to Christine Jorgensen back in the 50s, who was one of the first men to have the surgery. Dennis and I have a dear friend, Marlena, who has been in our life for 20 years. Marlena her name was John, and she was an actor. She was on the Rat Patrol and Hogan's Heroes, strapping blonde German actor who, was making a really great living. And we're talking about in the 60s and 70s in Hollywood, and really gave it all up, literally sold the house in the hills, I believe had the same surgeon as Christine did back in the day. I think went to Italy and had the surgery, and Mickey Hargitay, who's Mariska Hargitay's father, who had been John's best friend, actually stood by him after the surgery and allowed him to recover, allowed her then to recover at his home in Italy. But Marlena talked to us about how when she made that decision, now we're talking, I think, late 60s, early 70s, she was completely ostracized in Hollywood.
I bet.
And she told a great story when you have to live that 1 year, when you have to live as a woman, but you haven't had the surgery yet, he still needed to make money as an actor. So he was in transition, but he would still go to auditions as John, and his hair was growing out and the nails were growing out. And it was fascinating because I knew his story. And then, the next person I think growing up I'd heard was the tennis player, Dr. Renee Richards. Do you remember Renee Richards?
No.
He had been a male tennis player and became a woman. And the big controversy is, should he be allowed to still play should he be allowed to play with females? Because he technically still had the strength and the power of a male. And so there was a TV movie made about Dr. Renee Richards, but in all the hype with Bruce Jenner, I haven't seen. I don't know if we can look up Renee Richards because I'm curious.
I have a picture of her.
I haven't seen her interviewed or anything about her commenting, and I don't know if she's just chosen to, stay out of the spotlight or not. But it's just interesting because she was high profile back in the 70s, I think it was. But again, she was not famous like Bruce Jenner was.
Looks like in January she joined Olbermann for an interview with ESPN.
Oh, well, and does it say her age? Because she must be.
I could find out.
She must be getting up there now.
Yeah, I believe, according to, let's see here.
Because
she's 80 years old.
Okay, yeah, because she was in her 40s or 50s, I think, when she had her surgery. But it's interesting, back to the Bruce Jenner thing, and I think what's really kind of put a little damper on it, it's the whole association with the Kardashians.
Sure.
And so people are criticizing him because they think that he's kind of sold out a little bit. I don't know about you, but I am going to watch his docuseries when it comes out.
Yeah, I will as
because
well.
I think that should be fascinating.
Yeah.
But I think if it weren't, let's be honest, if it weren't for the fame of the Kardashians, then
well, to be honest with you, I have never watched that show, Keeping
with
the Kardashians, until Bruce and Caitlyn, the transition.
So because I don't watch it at all, I kind of missed. I wish I had seen, because they did cover it right on the last.
They have been. And it's an ongoing thing.
It's doing it right now. Because I'm such a, I'm a reality freak, but I'm a Kardashian freak.
Well, it's just one of those shows that happen to be on when you're flipping through and you're just like, well, I'm curious because of Caitlyn. I want to see what's going on. And honestly, I think they're covering it pretty well.
Right.
I think they're handling it pretty sensitively. And it's interesting to see all this transition. I mean, and not just her transition, but the family's transition, dealing with
and the way how hard it's been for Kris Jenner to handle all this. And it's amazing because right now, rightfully so, Caitlyn is everything she's wearing is being scrutinized, which I'm sure she loves that because that just makes her feel more like a woman. But there's a lot of bloggers and people saying, she's prettier than Kris now. So it's interesting. I did see some promos or clips from Keeping Up with the Kardashians. Wasn't there an episode where Kris really was crying and really letting it out about it?
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
I have to say, I don't know Kris Jenner. I know some people who know her and actually like her a lot. I think she's a phenomenal businesswoman.
Yeah, I agree.
You can't take that away from her. I think as a manager, she's amazing.
Yes.
I haven't felt a lot of warmth from her or whatever, but I think, this is hard for her, and I do give her sympathy on this.
Yeah.
I'm fascinated. I don't know if you are, but I'm fascinated by his first wife and by Linda Thompson, his second wife. I've seen just very brief little interviews with them. I mean, Linda Thompson was famous in her own right. She was also Elvis's girlfriend when he died. Of course, being from the South, I knew her from Hee Haw. But then she went on and married David Foster.
Yes.
So if for those of you who watch The Real Housewives of Beverly Hills, and you see David and his I can't think
who is struggling with Lyme disease.
His wife is So Yolanda Foster, who that's a whole other disease. That's horrific, right?
Right.
A few last month when we were in Georgia, Dennis got his first ever tick on his leg.
Yes, I remember hearing about that.
I mean, it had only been on there literally like a few minutes. It hadn't even embedded yet. But of course, in my Lifetime TV movie mind, I immediately thought, oh my God, he's going to have Lyme disease. And Avril Lavigne also recently talked about having.
Right.
So for all you listeners out there living, especially in the East Coast, I don't think we have the problem in the West, or especially Southern California, maybe Northern California. And I think it's it's a deer tick, right? Or there's a certain tick that causes.
Right, and you get a bullseye rash. And
do you love how we've segued from Caitlyn Jenner to deer ticks? Only on 101 with Jasper Cole will you get this sort of opinions. But so I mean, I grew up with ticks, and I remember having them on me. But when did Lyme disease come around?
Right. Well, apparently there's a new strain of Lyme disease or something going on where it's more
prevalent.
Well, that
or viral, but
it's
stronger.
Worse. It's stronger. Yeah, and it's a really bad.
I remember growing up, it was Rocky Mountain spotted fever.
Yes,
Now that's different, though, and you don't really hear that anymore.
Right. With Lyme disease, you have to look for this bullseye rash that appears.
That it leaves after
the tick
after you take it off.
And I guess from what I see from time, I'm just looking right now, it's surged 320% in America.
But we don't know why.
Yeah.
Unless this just the population of the ticks have grown.
I'm guessing that's probably why.
So for right now, especially in the summertime. Another
and
reason.
More people maybe becoming educated about it and reporting it, and tending to go in and, because a lot of people get Lyme disease and aren't even aware that they have it for the longest time.
They're misdiagnosed because they think it's lupus or chronic fatigue or Epstein-Barr or one of the other autoimmune disease. But yeah, I mean, Yolanda Foster's has really affected her thinking, her cognitive abilities. So give love to Yolanda.
Yeah.
And Avril Lavigne also. She's just sort of recently been able to come out and talk about it, which is she's young. So well, let's talk a little entertainment.
Sure.
I mean,
we kind of segued into it.
Right. I mean, I was just thinking, what's happening in entertainment? By the way, we are going to be taking the show to Vegas.
Yeah.
We're going to be going to interview Todd Bridges. Most of you know Todd from Different Strokes, and Todd's had his struggles over the years, and he's triumphed over many adversities. And he has a residency in Vegas at the Plaza Hotel. So we're going to be taking the show out there and interviewing him in the next, I think, toward the end of the month. And we have Ronnie Blakely, who's going to be an upcoming guest. It's the 40th anniversary of the Robert Altman film Nashville.
Okay.
And Ronnie was Oscar nominated for Best Supporting Actress, and that was really her first movie role. Even though she had 2 albums prior to that and was a singer, that was her first big acting role. But a lot of people also will know her from Nightmare on Elm Street. She played the mother in that. So Ronnie's going to come in and talk about her experiences and the whole thing working on Nashville and what she's doing now. And she's had an amazing music career. Like we mentioned, Carrie Kasem is an upcoming guest on one of our shows. Yeah. And also Fortune Feimster. A lot of people will know Fortune from Chelsea Handler. And
she's a writer, right?
She is a writer, but she has a new sitcom that Tina Fey is executive producing that Fortune created and is also starring in and has written. And from what I know, it's loosely based, or it may be really based, on growing up in, I think, North Carolina or South Carolina, one of the southern states. And, Fortune is openly gay, a lesbian, and hilarious. I want to talk to her because, again, no such thing as an overnight success. I first saw her on the Chelsea Handler show, but I know she's, there's a whole
journey. What did
she
do on that show?
Well, she was a writer who then she ended up bringing her onto the panel.
Okay.
Because she's got this great red hair, I
have a picture of her.
She has this amazing look, and nobody looks like Fortune, and she just has the heart of gold. And I've been a fan of her since Chelsea Handler. She's a stand-up comedian, so she's gotten really, really popular out on the road. So those are just some of the upcoming guests for the rest of July, and then we're going to keep, surprising you in August. A lot of good stuff coming. But so in entertainment right now, I guess the Emmy nominations come out tomorrow.
Do they?
Tomorrow morning, yes. So do you have like a favorite? Because I'm a big... I've only watched 2 dramas, Empire and Ray Donovan. I'm hoping
Empire.
Okay, so clearly Empire is going to sweep tomorrow. This is their first. This will be their first Emmy eligibility. And then Ray Donovan, Liev Shriver, and John Voight. The whole cast is so amazing. The season premiere was last Sunday night.
Okay.
But yeah, we'll talk about, we'll touch a little on the Emmys next week after the nominations come out. But they're coming out tomorrow morning, and as an actor, TV season's starting back right now. We're out on all of us. We're all out there auditioning, aren't we? We're basically professional auditioners.
Well, I think California in general. Is
that's what we do.
City, California.
But that's what you got. Actors. I know we're getting close to the end, but I just want to leave actors with this thing to know that if you're lucky enough to audition and get to the point in your career where you can get auditions, because it's gotten so hard now with the movie stars are all doing series regulars and the series regulars are guest stars. You just have to know when you get the job, it's kind of like the vacation.
Sure.
Because then you get to go and be pampered. But I don't know. You have to sort of like change your thinking about auditions. I always looked at it as if I already have the job. I'm going in and I'm shooting it that day at the audition. They just maybe choose not to.
Look at it as building your network, too. And
you do. And just remember, actors out there, these casting people, they're not going to keep calling you back if you're not doing good work.
Right.
So on that note, I am going to be doing a guest spot on a new series. I can't really talk yet about it, but maybe by next week I can talk about it.
Okay.
And this is amazing. The hour has gone.
We have 1 minute.
I have sat here and rambled with you and just ran my fucking mouth.
It worked.
About shit, and I love it. In fact, I'm just going to sit here even after we go off and just talk. I'll just talk to myself.
Keep on talking.
But everyone, coming up next is the Ann Walker Show that JW produces and is on, and stay on and listen to that. And we will be back next week, and we're either going to have Carrie Kasem, we're going to have Ronnie Blakely, or Fortune Feimster. You know what? We're just going to put it in a bowl and pull it out. I want to give a thanks to my other producer, Dominic Frazen, and the publicist, Dominic, call me wherever you are. And JW, John, thank you so much.
My pleasure, Jasper.
Again,
always a pleasure.
Follow us on Twitter, one-on-one, J. Cole, Facebook, one-on-one with Jasper Cole, jaspercole.com. And our sponsors, Tyrone Artworks and Wayman Productions. Couldn't do it without you guys. We'll see you next week. Same time, same place. Thanks. Peace out.
Thanks for checking out One-on-One with Jasper Cole. Check out past episodes and get the latest as they're released. Subscribe today on iTunes, Stitcher, and YouTube.